Now.
I can post something and it goes out to
Okay,
millions.
this is JoJo Siwa. I guess that's how you say it.
What's tricky is
and she's a gay girl.
Cannot change anything. The only thing that we can change is how we live, how we think, how we walk every single day, how we vote, how we believe.
Right.
And whatever happens, that single-handedly is out of our control. As a nation, it's in our control, but single-handedly, it is out of our control. And so what I want to tell people is just live every day without regret, because you never know when your last day on this earth is. And I actually...
Well, see, that's why some people say being gay is wrong, right?
If gay marriage wasn't legal, and I lived in a country where I wasn't allowed to love who I loved, and I wasn't allowed to marry who I loved, and without even thinking, I said I would just move. I would go somewhere where I could love who I want to love, and luckily,
but you can't go nowhere. Right.
The odds are that won't happen. But
yeah,
if it does, that's their loss, because love is amazing, and that is not our loss.
Yeah. Well.
But do you choose who you love? I don't know. Or do you just feel attracted to someone? Right. That's another question they ask you if you're gay or straight. Right. Who do you feel attracted to? Right? And why? How did you develop these emotions, right? For the same or opposite sex, right? Were you pushed into it? Were you molested or something, right? Why are you gay? Why are you gay? These are just things I've heard growing up, right? Right, in the South. But what do you want to do with her? She feels gay. Mm-hmm. She likes women, she says, right? I guess that's what that means. Does that mean she can't love a man? I know. Well, why can't you love a man, right? That's another question they'll ask her, right? What's wrong with a man, right? See, unconditional love, and here's what they'll play against her, right? Means, you're supposed to love everybody, even men. Even if you're gay, what are you being gay for? Because you hate men. Because you hate men. And the same with a transgendered person. Why are you being transgendered, they'll ask, right? Why do you feel you want to become the opposite sex? When all you can do is externally do surgery on your body. Yeah, you can do that. You can take hormone pills and grow breasts, sort of, but they're still not milk glands in your body like a woman, right? And they'll point out the differences and why it's right or wrong, right? Right? That's what they usually do with me or anyone feeling gay, right? Or straight, or transgender, right? But see, then you make the decision, right? I'm okay with feeling straight, gay, bi, normal, right? Whatever it is, right? See, your mind is your problem sometimes, and yet your battle is in the mind, they say, right? And you're battling against good or evil, right? They say, right? But the thing is, they're not being perfectly good as Jesus was, right? They're still wanting to harm you if you feel gay. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a sin, like the disciples picking corn on the Sabbath, and it's punishable by death too, right? What Jesus is saying is forgive it, right? Don't condemn it, right? If someone feels gay, they were brought up feeling gay. Mm-hmm. If someone feels straight, the same thing, right? That's what I'm saying, right? That's how Jesus will look at it. Not you, Jesus Christ. Not Christians who think they're following Jesus, but don't get the whole message. They too aren't seeing the grace of God in the truth of Christ Jesus. That's what I mean, right? Now, the problem we're having today is population. Right? So, if some people feel gay, right? Some people feel straight. Some people feel bi, which means they could be with either or. Some people feel transgender or whatever, right? Alien is now Elliot Page, right? And again, right? What can I do about it? Support her anyway. I don't agree with it, right? I don't think she should have done it, right? But she did anyway, right? You understand, right? Even if I don't feel the same way about it, right? Unlike the alien in Men in Black 3, when he says let's agree to disagree, right? He's not being, what's the word? Positive about it, but negative, right? And that's the point too, right? Jesus is trying to teach us positive, good works, right? But condemnation is evil, right? That's why you're not to judge, lest you be judged, right? See, this is in the sermon as well. And what is the point about telling men about adultery, right? And committing it, right? Well, you got to judge the adulterer, right? As being adulteress, right? Now, how is he being adulterous? Is he with more than one woman? Right. And yet, in order to be with more than one woman has to want to be with him, right? Right. Exactly. And she's 19 now, right? Okay. And she's done declared herself gay. Right. So what are you going to do about it? Rape her into being straight? That ain't gonna work. Murder her for being gay? Then she's dead and you murdered somebody. Which is worse, her being gay or you murdering her over it? Because you feel it's wrong. Don't you even see what Moses means when he calls it an abomination, right? Is he being literal or sarcastic, right? If you're in love with the person you're with, isn't it the same, right? As being with a straight person, right? Except you're having butt sex, right? Yes, it's the bottomless pit, right? There's a mouth attached to the anus and an anus back to the mouth, right? But if you choose to feel that way or you felt that way your whole life, right? You're telling them that they're gay and you want to harm them for it. Right? That's what I mean, right? That ain't Jesus, that's Satan, right? I'm trying to tell the gay people I understand Jesus better than when I was first raised in the South, because I was taught to judge you, right? But I'm reading the Bible more, and Jesus is teaching me not to judge you, right? And that's what they can't handle. They can't handle the truth of what Jesus taught, right? They're not explaining it the right way. They're explaining it to you as the devil would himself, right? Even the devil believes there's one God, but he don't do the works of God, right? And yet they use that to condemn you, but that makes them twofold the son of the devil, like the scribes and Pharisees in Jesus' day, right? That means what? Nobody's perfect, right? Not even those trying to pretend they're following Jesus, right? See, when you're pretending to follow Jesus and you're not getting the message, and even Paul talks about forgiveness, right, in his letters, right, and not judging, right? He talks about people judging him for what he wants to eat, drink, and touch, taste, smell, hear, or understand even, right? And then they're the problem, right? Exactly. You're wanting to harm somebody for feeling gay, right? Where in the Bible does it say that, though? The Torah, the law. But then the law is good and evil, yes. it not only is just telling you rules, it's telling you a punishment for those rules. And where do you think Moses got that from? Egypt or God? Egypt. Egypt. Right? Egypt will also punish you for breaking the laws. And even the Hammurabi Code, or whatever it was, Hammurabi, whatever it was. Okay, the crime for thievery was to cut off the thief's hand, right? But why is the thief stealing, right? He doesn't have what he needs, right? And even in the Proverbs or the Song of Solomon, it talks about that. But then Solomon wants the thief to pay back 7 times the amount he stole, right? Well, if he ain't got a pot to piss in the first place, that's why he stole, right? You're not giving him a pot to piss in. Damn. Don't you get it? A thief steals because you're not providing him with a good job, money, what he needs, what he don't need, right? And even what he wants sometimes, right? Like I told you, no one is born a thief, right? But if they feel they're being cheated, right, and don't have the money they need, they then become a thief, right? Right. They're not born a thief, right? They became one, right, as time went on. Now, is that a major thing to do wrong? Yes and no. Yes and no. It depends on why he's doing it, right? Now, if he's on drugs and he's just getting money to get drugs, that's wrong, but how did he get addicted to drugs? A drug dealer pushed his drugs on him. They'll even give you the first hit for free. And beware of those giving you something for free, they say, right? Now, if JoJo feels she's more attracted to women, though, right, than men, right, that's because of how she was raised in the dance world, right? And which body is more attractive even to you, men? Hers or yours? Be honest, hers. Why do you think some people want to become a woman? Now, some women, for some reason, want to become a man, right? But I think that has more to do with relationship with parents, right? Like with Tyra Banks, right? And her show when it was on, right? My problem with transgender people is usually it's because a parent left the parent that had them, person that had them, and married someone else, and they had a boy, right, with that person, right? And they were born a girl, and then they feel transgendered because the parent, right, wasn't happy in that relationship, but then found another woman, was happier with her, had a son, right? And you don't think that puts pressure on the girl you had before, making you a jackass, by the way. And now you have what you wanted, a male child, right, from your wife, your new wife, right? But you had a girl child with your ex-wife, because that wasn't good enough for you, right? So you left the other woman. Yeah, ain't it odd that with the other woman, you had a boy child, right? Well, you don't know you couldn't have done that with the other woman either, right? But that means you wanted a boy, more than a girl, and a girl was your firstborn, and you're not to negate that she's the firstborn either, right? If you have a firstborn daughter, she's to receive the inheritance, even over a secondborn son, right? Don't you get what Moses means sometimes when he's talking about all that crap? It's crap. I know. Why did Jacob receive the status of firstborn, right, and not Esau anyway? I'm sure there's a reason, right? And yet we don't know the reason, right? When you just read the Bible, it sounds messed up either way. Same with Isaac and Ishmael. Ishmael was technically, Abraham's firstborn son, though he was already married to Sarai or Ra or whatever, right? Before they had Hagar, they didn't get her till they got to Egypt, right? Oh no. She's an Egyptian woman, right? And Eleazar the Canaanite was to be his steward, right? And would have inherited, right? If, Abraham were to die. Ain't that odd, right? Yet Ishmael and Isaac, and at this point, yes, Isaac is the only son around Abraham, but also Ishmael is not dead, but he's to take him up and sacrifice him, right? Yet the Muslims think it the reverse, right? That Ishmael was taken up and offered, right, instead, right? But you can't contradict another religion's point of view, right? Unless you're bringing out a different fact yourself, right? So why was Ishmael not accepted as a son of Abraham? Well, the only answer is Eleazar and Hagar are both first manservant and maidservant to Abraham and Sarah. And if Abraham had died, who would have inherited? Eleazar. Well, if Eleazar and Hagar were hooking up, you don't got to be married to get pregnant, idiot. It's called an unplanned pregnancy or a pregnancy before legal marriage, but you can do it at any time, right? So, if a woman gets pregnant by a man, right, and has a baby with the man, even if she's married to another man, she's committed adultery against her marriage, right? Not you necessarily if you're single, right? Either, right? But if she's married, who's committing the adultery there? The married woman, right? Not the single man, right? Now, of course, if I'm with someone, I'm going to ask them their real status, right? Right. And if you're married, I'm not going to try to be with you, right? Though you can seduce me, maybe, right? If you put on the moves, right? That's what I mean, too, right? But if then you're lying about it, right? You're the one lying, right? Now, I don't know if someone couldn't have been in the bathroom when I went into the nail salon. That's possible, too, right? But when you have amnesia, you get to guess what happened. And you can't tell me what to guess happened, right? Even if you're denying what happened yourself, right? And that's what I mean, right? If you don't know, why are you saying what happened when I don't know? You're interjecting what happened. And then you're lying about it. And all I can do is forgive you, right? Whatever happened myself. But I'm trying to confess it to be forgiven by God in case you did me wrong. Choo. If you're tricking me and I'm not tricking you, right? And gay is just the word anyway, like I told you before. It used to be something where you're happy, kind of like joy as well. Joyous, right? It's kind of akin to that word, right? It wasn't always a sexual word, right? It became that during the 60s and 70s, right? Actually. It wasn't always negative, right? And what do you want them to say then if they're in the men or in the women, right? And they're women or men, right? What do you want them to call it? Homosexuality, right? Okay? And you can't tell people not to say gay, or you're censoring them. You can't tell people if you're racist, you're not racist, if you don't want to talk about race. Right. What insanity are you preaching from your bully pulpits? You're no different than a Christian in a damn sermon, right? Preaching false doctrine because you don't understand what Jesus really means either, right? If you don't understand the man, right? And by the way the disciples wrote it, they didn't understand him either. Uh-huh. And even John told you they didn't write everything down he did, right? So that means some of the information you kind of got to figure out for yourself, right? You got to guess at it. And the Bible don't say you can't guess at it, just you can't say what's already written out, right? Don't say you can't fill in the blanks. Was the woman or wife, I don't know, caught in the act of adultery, which is where she's married to another man and with another man, right? Mm-hmm. Who committed the adultery there, though? Jesus, who the woman was brought to and asked the question, and Master, in the law of Moses,